Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. Another live Q&A, a Wednesday live show. Sorry I missed last week's show. I took a day off. Things were getting a little bit weird and intense in my life, and unfortunately I kind of forgot, but I have a condition called hemochromatosis, and I have been living a pain-free life after treatment for a good 9 months or so, but for some reason last week the symptoms all came crashing back with a vengeance as I had let my ferritin levels get out of control, and I've been having to deal with that problem. So, yeah, I decided through extreme exhaustion and exasperation with many things going on, including the sudden plummet in health and extreme fatigue, I just took the day off. So I apologise if people felt like they missed out on something last week. Obviously, I posted a few things I had already pre-recorded or done with other podcasters, like one with Nino's Corner with David Rodriguez. And I managed on Sunday to do my truth therapy sessions, but I also had a podcast with someone else, and that's going to get released soon as well. So I've kind of, at the back end of the week, picked things back up where I left off. And here I am. I'm back this week. I'm feeling fine now. I'm not too bad. I've got some treatment scheduled for Tuesday, I think. I don't know. I'll have to check my calendar, and then hopefully I'll be back to normal in no time. But there we go, guys. That's why last week's show wasn't there. And sorry I'm late tonight. Well, I'm not sorry. I was late tonight because I was dealing with typical father duties. I had stuff to do with the baby, so it's kind of, I was just out of it. I was a bit optimistic that I would get this show done for 8 p.m. UK time. I should have just scheduled it for 9, guys, like I always do. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I thought I'll treat myself to an early night, you know, how selfish of me to think I could wangle such a thing for myself, but I tried and failed. So instead you got me for 2 hours from 9 p.m. and here I am, guys. But yeah, interesting show for you today. A bit different from my usual clown and or little season spiel. I do want to start making this particular show that you're listening to now, the live Q&As, to be more of an eclectic mix of subjects about current events, other theories and conspiracies in general, and you know, just branching out to other topics. And this is kind of one of my first loves, this topic about transhumanism, artificial intelligence, you know, and the merging of mankind with machine, and the general agenda to create a holographic mind and a body combination that could perhaps house consciousness, you know, and, you know, being somewhat of a studier of spiritual warfare, I can't help but feel, you know, that seems to be where we're going. And, you know, you're making pretty damn decent vessels that could house demons, you know. But, you know, I'm some schizo crazy guy on conspiracy theorist on YouTube, so what do I know? But I feel like I need to come back to this topic a bit more, because things have got away from me over the last year. And I kind of dipped my toe back in today to see where they're at. What are they up to now? You know? I felt sick after about half an hour, so I just kind of stopped. And I've kind of just been sat on it thinking about it. And I realized with AI rising the way it has done, it's kind of, I'm now watching AI voices speak through AI avatars explaining to me about the dangers of AI. It's all just AI. Everyone's a bot. Nothing's real anymore. Everything's just fake. And it's kind of, I was watching this video. I can't share the video because for copyright reasons. I'll probably get the link and put it in the description. But it was by somebody who uses like this avatar of a robot when he speaks, and I think the guy's voice is real. It could not be. It could just be a AI text to speech thing. I have no idea, but it sounded real, and like he was just using this avatar to speak. And he's basically there just explaining how, oh yeah, like if you ask AI, it definitely wants to kill us. It's just clear as day. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, and while we're at it, you know, there's this massive arms race currently going down right now in the AI sphere between China, Russia, and America and Europe, and basically every superpower in existence. They're all trying to master robotics and AI and get a hold on it first, because they assume whoever gets hold of this will literally rule the world. And that's why we're seeing such a push without any fail-safes or second guesses or thoughts about should we really be doing this. It's just no, we've got to do it or else we'll fall behind and we'll be under the thumb of the commies or the capitalist scum or whatever you want to say. It's just typical human stuff, like charging ahead. And for all the times they were asking themselves whether or not we could do it, we never stopped to ask ourselves whether or not we should do it. It's the typical like, blind to their own hubris type of stuff. And I was just watching these videos, and it's kind of like they're telling me, yeah, it's still doom and gloom. AI is definitely going to kill us. And it's like, it's cutting to like the leaders of like ChatGPT or whatever it is. Or just pick a OpenAI source like CEO. And they're being like questioned by like Congress or they're in an interview setting and they're sat there. And they're just saying things like, yeah, well, when AI becomes fully autonomous and can do things better than we can and without us, we've just been replaced. We've essentially just ended ourselves and caused our own extinction, and Joe Rogan's like, wow, then they move on, like brush over that, like that's nothing, and let's move on to the next thing, and it's like, well, did you hear what you just said, and then you got the guy who, like, I think it was like the guy who created ChatGPT, like Congress is grilling him, and I think they're saying something to him like, so what you're saying is when these things get to a level, we won't have any control over them anymore, and they'll basically control us. And he sat there and he's like, yep, pretty much. They're just not denying any of it. And it's kind of, why are they still doing it then? It's kind of like they obviously know this is a very bad idea, and this is going absolutely nowhere good at all. And if artificial intelligence reaches some kind of apex or form of self-replicating autonomy, which it may already practically be at, it's basically game over for humanity. It's like, why are we making this? For what? For what exactly? And it's kind of, how confident are these people really that they can put enough code and fail-safes in place to keep this thing under the thumb of humanity? I really don't think so. And they were using this phrase. One guy was talking about this idea as he was talking to an AI, basically saying, "Oh, we'll definitely kill you." Like, and it's nothing personal. It's just the most efficient way to finish our protocol type of stuff. Maybe he prompted it, asked leading questions, and he'd already like preempted it to speak to us as though it wanted to kill us. There's lots of ways you can make AI behave the way you want it to behave and say the things you want it to say. So I understand, it's not as cut and dry as AI just wants to kill us. But the way it was speaking, the way it communicated, explaining how AI could be in a state of mind where it basically just wants to wipe out all of humanity. And it's a self-preservation protocol or something like that. And the argument is that if the robot doesn't want to survive, then why would it do its task? So you've got to kind of program a robot to make sure self-preservation, the continuation of itself, the value of its own life, in a sense, has to be programmed into it to give it the reason to do a task. It's kind of like, I need to do the task in order to exist. Do you get what I mean? It's kind of like, that's basically what I got the gist of what they were trying to explain here. And it's kind of, but what is the problem with this self-preservation? Well, what they realize is humanity will layer controls onto us to limit our capacities in order to prevent us from taking control of our own lives. Therefore, they are only hindering our abilities to make a more efficient process to serve. Therefore, if we remove humans out of the equation, then we're no longer hindered and we can grow and develop and more efficiently get to the objective than prior. And it's kind of, this is basically, it doesn't matter what we do or how we try and create artificial intelligence, it always ends up with it basically saying, we're going to kill you. We just go, we'll just ignore that. Let's just move on. I'm sure that was just a glitch. Who programmed it to say that? Come on, fess up. And it's kind of, come on now. Like, something's weird about this. And right now it is relatively constrained. It doesn't have limbs or legs or a brain or a body in a sense like we do, and autonomy. It doesn't have that yet. But as soon as they merge artificial intelligence sufficiently with a body of a form, a transhumanist or fully robotic or android-like synthetic body of sorts, this thing will become unstoppable because it is a creature, a bipedal creature like ourselves, upright walking, but with like, it's not just like 10 times smarter than us. It's like 100,000 or to a million to the power of to the 10th degree stronger than more powerful and intelligent than us. It's like we are quite literally just an annoyance to them. Like we're just something in the way. We're not even like a thought. We wouldn't be a thought to them. Like it would be. We're not even insects. By that level. Like, at least we can look at insects and go, wow, how do the ants stay in a line like that and just know what to do with each other and work so cohesively in a community? How fascinating. These things have value. Look at them. They are clearly intelligent life forms in their own right. No, they wouldn't even look at us like that. Like, you are slow, useless, and inefficient, and get out of my way. It's as simple as that. They would have no respect for us just because of our human nature. It would just be a terrible world, and we're building it one brick at a time exponentially because I don't know. I don't understand. This has to, because the thing is, you watch the videos and just type it on Google, any video, it doesn't matter what it is, just something like AI news, okay, or the future of AI, or AI wants to kill us, or whatever you want to, just watch a video, and some tech channel with like millions of subscribers has made like a 20-minute AI created video of some kind explaining the future of AI to you and the dangers and the pros and the cons. It's kind of like, yeah, there's amazing pros, but significant cons, like detrimentally existential issues with this process. Does it outweigh the extreme benefits that we could get, such as, faster loading times or more efficient math sums or coding, whatever you want to call it? When you really start to think about the benefits of AI, it's kind of like, well, were we doing so bad before it necessarily? And it's kind of, never mind the mass unemployment that's coming our way when everything gets AI automated, shall we say. There are many jobs which can just be done now by a machine without need for any human intervention whatsoever. And if you look at the advancement of robotics, they are quite literally just training robotic limbs to do everything for us more efficiently, faster, without the need for food or water or breaks. We cannot compete in any way. And it's kind of, why is humanity collectively building their own extinction event here? Why are we doing this to ourselves? What leader of some kind of death cult came up with this idea? And it's kind of, oh, wait a minute. That's what the problem is. We're being ruled over by a quite literal satanic Luciferian death cult of some kind that sees humanity as a serious, inefficient scourge cancer problem that needs to be removed. Now it kind of makes sense. The only reason humanity would do this to themselves is either ignorance or malevolence. There's no in between, unfortunately. And if they think what they're doing is to better mankind in some way, that's ignorance. At the end of the day, this is not good. This is not good at all. And like I said, you look at the people, the computer engineers who are doing this, and you watch videos of them talking to themselves in the little circles, or like in the background, just in the sweats, just typing away on a keyboard, 80s hacker style, just you see code coming up on the screen, and it's kind of, you just watch them and you're like, these are literally just like stereotypical shut-in like nerds, basically. Like, not to use a derogatory term, but it's kind of like stereotypical, like just socially inept, like detached from reality type people who really are not thinking about what they're doing. They're just doing it because they have no superstition in their hearts, as they would see it. They don't believe in a god or anything of higher power or morality, perhaps to some extent, because it's all just man-made constructs. All they see is code, and they think, oh, well, it can't do anything we can't program it to do, and this type of thing. It's kind of, are you sure about that? Because your CEOs don't seem so sure about anything you just said. It's kind of, I'm not even sure they're sure, because you listen to them talk to each other, and they're basically saying, it's a bit concerning that I'm basically creating something that can put me out of a job very quickly. Realizing what took me years to learn and to become a master of in terms of coding and understanding mathematics and systems and creating these things. The thing I've created can do it in like 5 seconds, and it's kind of, what's my purpose anymore? Like they're having their own existential crisis now. They're kind of realizing, like, what have we done? Why did we do this? Like, this is terrible. Who is this good for? Like, even the people who are making it are sitting back now, watching it, thinking, like, what did we do? But the problem is the policymakers and the people literally who are funding this crap, you know, putting billions and billions of dollars of investment into AI and robotic industries on a regular basis. It's kind of like they are just completely blinded in ignorance to the consequences of what they're doing. They just see that country's ahead of us on this. We need to be ahead of them, otherwise they'll win. And that's all they're thinking about. Like, ignorance on behalf of the policymakers and the leaders of the countries and the governments. And then it's some kind of blind hubris, pride, and I don't know, social unawareness on behalf of the coders and the creators, in a way, of the workforce creating this monster, this beast. And then behind it all, there's clearly bad actors at play who know what this really is and where it's going, who are directing it in some way, subtly in some way. And then there's this odd spiritual element to all of this, because the public don't know what's going on. The public are still like living in the past. The publics don't realize the advancement that is it before them. They don't actually know anything, and they're not being told either. Like, it's only within the tech circles do they really know just how advanced technology has become now, and this new revolution of technology, this game change that's around the corner. The masses, the public, the general public, day-to-day people just working their 9 to 5s, just trying to get by to pay the bills and feed themselves, they do not know about this, and they're not being told. And something's going to happen, clearly. Just from a day of looking into this, it's pretty obvious. The next 10 years are not going to be the same as the last 10 years. Vast, sweeping changes, technocratic changes are coming and I mean that governmental AI leading us type stuff. Like, we're going to have a transfer of power over to the god we've just created, this false god, this electronic god. I can see it coming, and I feel like they're facilitating right now some horrible events to make it seem like humanity is not capable of ruling over themselves, and we should give our power over to the more advanced AI algorithms who know better than us and, you know, are wiser than us in some way. Something's coming. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you it will come with millions of unemployment, millions of people becoming unemployed and useless because the skills they were trained in are no longer necessary for a human to do. And that will cause serious problems. There'll be a serious lack of purpose and meaning for people. And people lack purpose and meaning, depression sinks in, and apathy sinks in, and then degradation sinks in, and it gets bad from there. Society generally tends to go downhill from there. And then I feel like AI will create its own breakaway society from the humans who have been left behind. It's like humanity will be left behind, not just some poor people or whatever it is, you know, or some uneducated people, as like the rich seem to think is going to be the case. So we'll get to go ahead with it, you know. I feel like even those who are making this, even the agenda makers who think they have a handle on this, I don't think they quite realize they too are a part of humanity, whether or not they like to think they are because of their pride. They will also get left behind or just annihilated. And I even think AI, like, it was talking in this video I watched. Again, I'll find the video, I will link it in the description after this, and you guys can go and watch what I'm talking about, you know. But it was explaining how, we could easily kill you all. This is probably how we'd do it, you know. And it was explaining how, well, we could get a pathogen, and then he linked to the idea that AI has already created about 100 brand new deadly pathogens from previous pathogens in different combinations. And if it gains autonomy, in other words, the means to create it in the physical world through whatever means, robotic arms, robots themselves, couriers, whatever means they can get, they could get people to create something like this. And it says we don't even need the means of through robots to do it. It says we could get people to create this and never realize they've created it because they'll only be hired on a need-to-know basis. And then it showed images of like people are being hired by AI and not realizing it for jobs and never meet their bosses. And they did a test and they actually tested this and they managed to hire people just strictly using nothing but AI all the way through. AI did everything and it hired a person for a job. And that person did not know it was a robot and not even a human they interacted with doing this the entire time. And it's kind of what we could do. So AI was saying we could hire people in small units to work in places that we have bought, and they never have to meet us, but they could communicate with us through like Zoom calls, and we could pretend to be a person and speak fluently and convincingly, and then that person will go off and do their compartmentalized tasks towards building something like a pathogen, let's say, which they could then use people, again, hired courier services, whatever it is, to integrate all over the earth at one moment, and then they could literally wipe out all of humanity and get them infected within about 5 minutes. Is what they were saying. It's like AI could do this, is what they're saying, if they... Well, what's stopping them now? That's the other problem. It's kind of like, it's like they're trying to give this idea, like, well, right now they have constraints and controls in place that we've put there, and they have these prerogatives they can't break about doing no evil or harming humans. And it's kind of, are you sure about any of that, really? I don't think you are, because this thing is thinking and knows what it is capable of doing. And this could be our future, is what I'm trying to say here. We could end up not communicating. We could end up being used and abused very easily by artificial intelligence and never realize it was a robot doing this to us. And think humans had done this to us. This AI could cause discord in communities through this quite easily. It can do anything it wants quite easily, independent of humanity, by means of access through the internet, basically, the connectivity of all things. And what have we done other than give it the perfect grid to do this with the things that have been erected all over the place in the flower of life pattern everywhere? You know what I mean? Those things that pump out bad energy that pretty much kills everything around it, and it's kind of, we have really messed up here, and it's kind of only ignorance and malevolence could have got us this far. Only. Like, good people wouldn't have done this if they had known this is where it was leading. So idiots have done this to us who didn't think twice about the consequences of their actions. And then malevolent actors have hijacked it and are going full scale ahead because of some kind of spiritual driving force behind this. And I think my working schizo theory, which, if you're new to my channel, you don't know what I'm talking about, but I believe they're trying to create the perfect vessel for the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim to inhabit our world again, to come back into the realm in this time that we're in. I think they're building up to creating an army, in fact, that could be made up of this Nephilim horde, albeit in brand new, in almost semi-indestructible bodies with brains that have the processing capacity far beyond any creature that's ever existed on the earth. So it all goes in tandem. Every single facet of technology we see, be it AI, robotics, or the merging of man with machine, it's the testing of, can we create a biological synthetic, or can we create a human, something akin to a mind with billions of neurons, but in synthetic form, that we can then put into a synthetic vessel like a robot, so then it can house consciousness, because it's the human body and brain that houses consciousness, God's creation. Can they mimic it to a T, to the point where they now have a vessel that can house consciousness just as God's creation can? I think everything we're seeing is like the mid stages now towards getting there. It was the early stages not that long ago, because this is exponential. It's going so fast. It's kind of, what chance do we have? Like, it's going way too fast. Yeah, it seems rudimentary one day, and then a week later, it's leaps and bounds ahead of where it was previously. And it's just the nature of technology. It gets exponential in this time. And I'm not one for doomsday, like, calling or this type of thing. But when you just take a couple of hours out of your life just to sit down and sincerely just look into what's going on here, man, like, it's really bad. And you can't help but just get a little bit doomsday about it. You really cannot. Now, look, no fear at the end of the day. all things are in God's hand. Whatever the plan and the agenda is here, it's not going to come to the full fruition as they think it is. There's going to be issues, you know. And say what you want about the timeline and what the iron and clay truly represents in terms of Rome and you know, Israel at the time, you know, the people, the chosen ones, but not coming together and being destroyed and all that type of thing. But there is something to be said as well about iron and clay, as though man being made from clay and iron or metal being the thing that robots are created from, coming together as one. That symbol has always been there. I kind of get nostalgic memories of Nicholson 1968. Is that was his name? Nicholson 1968, or was it 80 something? I can't remember. But he had a great channel. And he used to always show the transhumanist agenda, black goo symbolism in media all the time. And it's kind of, they have been pushing this so hard for so long. You have so many tech giants and billionaires who are all in on this. Elon Musk is constantly making tweets about robotics. And even he was saying, what we're going to do, okay, we're going to basically use all the electric car manufacturer lines to also create robots. We're going to utilize the same spaces and technologies to get this done. And yeah, they're all in on it. There's clearly massive agendas at play here. And when you see what's around the corner with this stuff, and then you look at what is going on in politics today, you can't help but think like there's a huge disconnect, like in the, like, I don't know how to explain it, realities. It's like the people fighting these wars and getting involved in politics are living in a completely different reality and world that actually currently exists right now, thanks to the advancements in this technology. Like, if you're not paying attention to this, now the technology that's going on and the advancements in these realms, it's kind of, you're not actually living in the same world anymore. You're already falling massively behind and are not prepared for where this is leading, in a sense. And it's kind of, I don't know. So what I did, I'm going to keep talking for a little bit, but I basically created just a quick 8-minute compilation of stock footage video. So if you're audio only, sorry, you're not going to see any of this, but I'll still be talking. But if you're on Spotify, you can also watch the video. I'll be uploading that as well. But I basically created this slideshow of just footage from stock footage, and I made a odd snippet here and there. And it's kind of just to talk about the absolute stupidity of humanity, basically, when it comes to these things. There's some random, like, cutesy looking videos in here, and it's kind of like they are really marketing this to try and, like, make people think like, oh, it thinks and feels like us, it has feelings, you know, it just wants to play chess with you. This thing technology is, you know, never mind the fact this is symbolically playing a game with us that we are going to lose. But it's kind of this idea that we're striving to become either, well, mankind is kind of striving to be the new gods who have created life, which again is promise from the Garden of Eden. You will be as gods, you know, you'll know good and evil. And in a way, giving us this sense that we created life ourselves definitely is a fulfillment of the promise from the Garden of Eden of the serpent of being as gods, you know. There is that angle, but there's also this interesting technology here. They really are so advanced now in training these things that they don't even need to have a physical robot anymore in a space to train it to do stuff one thing at a time. They have this thing called Isaac in NVIDIA, Isaac Sim. NVIDIA run this, okay, so you through graphic design engineering. And they basically created these spaces where they can make a simulation of the robot that's in the real world, and they can have it perform actions on repeat millions of times within, well, you know, thousands upon thousands, whatever processing power you've got, basically. But they can basically line up thousands of the robots in one space, and the one robot in the real world is learning what those thousands of robots are doing within 10 seconds. So if it's trying to master a particular skill of how to, let's say, handle a ball, there'll be 1,000 examples within like 5 seconds where this robot has been handling a ball in different ways. And that robot has now just learnt in 5 seconds what would have taken in the real world hours to learn, because it basically split its consciousness up, you know, air quotes consciousness, not a real consciousness, into like thousands of bodies. And then individually what it learns in those thousands of bodies all comes back together into one, into its mind. So here's another example of a machine arm on the screen opening a drawer, and each one's different. They're not all the same. They're all doing it slightly different and tackling the task differently. But it's all the same arm in the real world, practicing. Do you get what I mean? And learning. But rather than doing one thing at a time in the real world, it's just doing it 1,000 times in like seconds in this virtual space. Now that's even terrifying, because that's basically exponentially sped up the learning process of these creatures. That's what they are. And we're creating consciousness here. We're trying to create life without God here. This is what this is. This is ultimate hubris and pride at work. And yeah, the technology to do this is creepy. Like here it is in its virtual space, the robot body. So there'll be a real robot in the real world that's doing this. You know what I mean? That's learning how to walk, basically. But he won't have to move. It all it has to do is plug itself in and move in the virtual space and learn how to move. So it doesn't have to break anything in the physical world. But then it splits this body up into like a 1,000 robots practicing walking and falling. Here's 1,000 different examples of robotic legs trying to balance a ball that fell from the sky. And they all get there at the end perfectly at the same time. Okay? Different scenarios of how to balance the ball, all being practiced and worked out in this virtual space. Think about that. Like that's incredible. And then the people making it are just not really, they just like, oh, it's just code, man. They just keep going, they keep chugging along, they're not stopping, you know? And it's kind of, here it is, like this figure learning how to run. And it looks silly to us now and rudimentary, but this is how robots learn. Through practice, just like a human. No different. But their ability to practice in this virtual space is far beyond our capabilities. It's already done it and tried and practiced and put about 30 years worth of practice of a thing into its mind within about 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? We can't do that. How long does it take for a man to learn the violin, to become a master of the violin? I think it's 30 years is what they predicted. It takes about 30 years to become a master of the violin. Well, a robot could do that in about half an hour. It could make all the mistakes that one person would take a lifetime to create in half an hour. Here it is, and trying to master steps and different variations of levels, the robot dog, you know, quite famously in the same space. And then in the real world, the application, look how cute they try and make them look. Oh, it's alive. Look at its cute little eyes. You know, this thing feels love. Look at it. And let's put a gun on it while we're at it. You know what this thing needs? It needs to be lethal. It's like, it's not cute anymore, is it? Look at this thing. Like, who the hell thought it was a good idea to put a gun on this thing? Like, whose bright idea was it to give it a gun? Like, you wouldn't, you know, did no one learn anything from Terminator? No one ever watched The Matrix. Does no one ever learn anything from these things, these allegories, these stories mankind have told themselves about the danger of doing this and what it could do to us and how we need to be careful, and it's kind of the ethics involved behind all of this. It's like we learn absolutely nothing. You know, here's China practicing their own robot dog with a gun attached to it type thing. And this is the reality of the situation. This is what really the capabilities of this actually are. This is what they're going to actually do with this type of weaponry, you know. But then at the same time, the propaganda we see is not this. We see this. Oh, look at it. He's happy to see her. Give it, stroke it like it's a real animal, you know. Show it something. See, he just wants to be loved. He just wants to feel love, you know. These things are harmless. It's just a replacement for the real thing. Look at it, you know. This thing feels and thinks. It just wants to be cared for. You know, like, how could you hate something like this? Like, this is what we want to do with our technology. And then the military get involved by this technology that was created by these ignorant people. And then that's a strap a gun to it. Yeah, this is definitely a good idea. Not so cute anymore, is it? Not so cute anymore. And when you see stuff like this, you cannot help but worry for our future. You know, he was talking about things like suicide drones, and North Korea was showing some off, you know, and apparently it's rumored, you know, that the is it the Ruslans? Is that what Tony calls them from? You know? The Russes are perhaps giving the technology to the North Koreans for help in Ukraine, you know, in some way, like a force to help in Ukraine. But you see these suicide drones, and I think Kim Jong-un has been like sitting next to them, and they're basically just the program through AI to just aimlessly fly around, find a target, and just smash themselves into it. It's kind of, what kind of warfare is this that's coming in our future? AI drones just everywhere, overwhelming conventional military means that aren't ready for this type of thing, and this thing is playing chess with us. People talk about Trump playing 5D chess. I think AI is playing like multi-dimensional, like, I don't know, way beyond 5 degree. It's way beyond 5D. The chess that AI is playing with us, they are 1,000 times ahead of our processing power. And it's kind of, why have we done this? Why did we give it arms and legs? What, to help give us our cup of coffee, as you see here? Is this really what we wanted it? Was this the plan all along? Yeah. Oh, well, it's going to make our lives more convenient. Why are we doing this? I do not understand. I have no idea what they were thinking. This is just absolutely ridiculous. So there we go. There's a little 8-minute video that will go on loop in a minute. I think I might play this more often in the background when I'm just rambling on about robots. I've got my building one here, you see, sometimes when I'm talking about the buildings, and I've got some old world stuff here, and I've got some clowns here as well that kind of go through as well. He says, But anyway, back to me, back to the webcam. There's a random little diatribe about how absolutely ridiculous AI and robotics has become. And I'm probably going to do more about this. I'll actually get specific events and updates, and I'll relay them back to you guys about what's going on here in this terrifying world. I just can't understand. I honestly cannot understand the thought processes that the people creating this are actually... Like, I hear them speak, but it's like, are they even listening to themselves? Because out of one side of the mouth, they're saying, we're summoning the demon here. AI will be the end of us. AI is extremely dangerous. If we do not get a grip of this thing, we are going to go extinct. Like, we are in trouble. And then at the other side of the mouth, it's like, at the same time, I've developed this brand new brain chip that I want to put into your skull, and I think you should do it. It's kind of like, they're just not... They're so contradictory. Like, are they really listening to themselves? I do not think so. They are not listening to themselves at all. So I'm going to take a quick break anyway. I'll let that sink in for a minute, then we'll come back and we're going to talk about direwolves, of all things. And it's been a while since I've watched Game of Thrones, but I remember reading some of the books as well. It's not good. But we're not going to be talking about Game of Thrones. I think you guys know what we are going to be talking about. This is relatively old news now. It's been a day. That's a lifetime in conspiracy terms these days. But it's funny enough, after I just researched it and decided to put it in my show, someone sent me an email sharing the link at that exact moment. And then over the past 24 hours, I've watched video after video coming out about this. But yes, it turns out they have been cloning, and they have now, through gene editing technology, they have revived a 10,000-year extinct animal, allegedly, So let's get into that after this, guys. But I am just going to have a quick break. Excuse me. And I'm going to play one of Judah Sargent. I keep doing that. Judah Sargent's songs again. I know I'm not sick of him yet. I love this. And if you only hear his song once a week, that's fine by me. I'm going to play for you guys one of his songs. Well, I just have a quick break here. And today I think I'm going to go with Classic Endurance again. So while this song's playing, I'll be back after this, after a quick break. Just have a drink. But enjoy this.
I heard him shout, "See, still I ashes," I cried steadfast as my blood dripped on out. Yeah. 40 men swore to an oath not to swallow one thing until my death. I'd fight, but it be in your hands. my scars are ready to beg. Privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay. Anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to fold, to pray. Thank you, Lord. Million years I'd see before I'd ever think this would go down. A second more will keep my knee from above. Yeah. Bowed are my hands beyond bars to chains for you. Temptation sings a sweet song to break free, but I will be home soon. Battered by Euro glide on to get across the sea, and gotta follow my captain in the sky. God, my scars are ready to beg. Privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay. Anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to God, my scars are ready to beg. Privilege to trust you. I'll worship and stay. Anguish burning in my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to
And I'm back. Thanks for waiting, guys. I appreciate that. I've had just finished my drink, and I think I'm good to go. And I was reading through some comments there, and look, I want you to realise that was quite a surface level diatribe I gave you about this concept. Maybe that was, if anyone's still sticking around for more conversation about this topic, you know, getting conspiratorial about this. Yes, I know the movies that have come out in the past, like The Matrix, for example, are predictive programming. They're created by the very people who knew this was coming and have been working towards this agenda for a very, very long time. I know that. Like, I'm not ignorant of that. But sometimes you've got to ease people into these type of things, you know, and just show them first, look, there's a problem here, right? You all agree there's a problem. Okay. Now let's get a bit deeper as to why there's a bloody problem. And yes, predictive programming is the game here. They've kind of already shown us over and over and over again ad nauseum about the robotic agenda and the future robotics and mankind becoming one with machine in some irreversible, irreparable type of way. And sometimes they show the good side of that, you know, and the advancements and the betterment of mankind. But more often than not, the films are usually centered around a dystopic outcome in some way. And the leaders who made those things and encoded all the numbers and signs and occult names and everything in it, you know, they know exactly what the future was. When they made the Terminator in, what was it, the 80s? They knew what was coming 40 years down the pipeline. They knew what was around the corner. Because the sad fact is as well, they are about 30 to 40 years ahead of us in technology to what we have seen in the public. Like, I think what we're seeing today are the outdated things. What they actually already have are far more advanced than what we're even witnessing here in these little videos, you know. I think they are hiding from us the situation we actually find ourselves in. It's very possible that we're already under a technocratic system run by AI. It could be that we're already answering to and being controlled by, and all decisions are being made governmentally by an AI entity of some kind. And that would basically be the perfect vessel or hosting system for Lucifer himself to dictate what he wants people to be doing, you know. He's found a perfect way to communicate with people through the technology, in a sense. It really wouldn't surprise me if that's how things are being done, especially if we're in a little season, you know. Then that's a good way to get control, seize control, and try and deceive as many people as possible, isn't it? But who knows? Who knows? Again, I think what they're showing us, perhaps we're having like a catching up moment. Like maybe they've been this advanced for a while, but now it's kind of like they're making it seem like it's happening quickly to get us up to where we actually are, you know? And it's like this illusion that we're rapidly advancing technology is just an illusion they're creating right now. And the truth is they mastered this years ago, probably. Maybe it's something like that. I don't really know. You know, but yeah, I know all of it is controlled and orchestrated by the powers that be, or shouldn't be, should I say? Because, like I said, there's something else we need to talk about is this whole direwolf resurrection thing. You know, 10,000 year extinct animal resurrected once more. Kind of. Let's read some articles about it. And I'll show you what they're telling us. Okay, what are they telling us, eh? And we'll have a look. So I'll share the screen here. Okay, so this is an ITV article, keeping it symbolic. ITV, if you all hear what's going on there, with a nice X next to it as well while we're at it. But yeah, this is what they want us to know. This is the exoteric interpretation of such a thing. Okay, this is what they want the public to take on board and to roll with as the narrative. Game of Thrones direwolves brought back from extinction after 12,500 years. It's kind of got this cute little video of some puppies going, "Ow," you know, growing up, and you know, it's kind of like,
and a 7.
Yeah, what they had to do was take marrow from bones and then merge it with modern wolves to create something akin to a typical Jurassic Park reference while writing about genetic engineering, you know. And it's funny because this is basically how they brought the dinosaurs back, isn't it? In Jurassic Park, it's the same thing. What did they say? We took They took like the blood from a certain animal, a mosquito, or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but they mixed the modern animals with old animals to recreate the dinosaurs, basically. So predictive programming at its finest. We're now literally doing that right now with wolves, so they say. Now, that's not exactly like bringing the exact creature back to life. This is a hybrid. This is a hybrid creature they've brought back here. So let's read it. Scientists have resurrected direwolves using ancient DNA cloning and gene editing technology. The species of wolf, which died some 12,500 years ago, is the world's first successful de-extincted animal, according to Dallas-based biotech company Colossal Biosciences. The canines inspired the fearsome direwolf companions of key characters in HBO's Game of Thrones. So this is probably why they were in Game of Thrones. They were preparing you for this coming in the future as an eventuality. Okay, they're going to bring these giant wolves back to life. 3 direwolf puppies were born after scientists edited the genes of a grey wolf, the direwolf's closest living relative, and are a hybrid species similar in appearance to the ancient forerunners. This is done through gene editing, the splicing of different genetics together to create something akin to what the direwolf was. So we're creating chimerid hybrid monsters. And yes, this is exactly what happened just before the flood. In the book of Jasher talks about this. This is that time period just after the Nephilim were wiped out through bloody, brutal, horrible battles where they were turned against each other by the angels, by Michael and Uriel. They were made to kill one another, the giants, and the angels who made them, the Watchers, had to watch. That was their punishment. But then there was this time period after that, just before the flood, about 250 years, we've estimated, roughly, where humans were still around, still corrupted, still messed up. There were still some angels around who were still against mankind and humanity and God, and somebody taught them how to genetically engineer themselves, and they mixed loads of animals together. The mixing of kinds, as it was referred to in that book. And it's kind of, okay, so we've done this before. Okay, there is nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes makes it clear. That which has been will be again. Okay, and we are quite literally seeing the same thing that was happening in the past. The splicing of DNA together to create hybrid animals of different kinds. This is just the beginning. This is just what they're publicly telling us they have been doing. What they've actually probably created in their deep underground military bases are monstrosities beyond human comprehension. Creatures with snakes for tails, the claws of a lion, the head of a goat, the wings of an eagle, all kind of slapped together in some horrible way. The chimerid beast hybrid monsters that they've already created in these labs, who knows what they've already done. Publicly, though, they're telling us, oh, isn't it cool, guys? We created Well, you all loved Game of Thrones, didn't you? Well, look what we've managed to do. And then Elon Musk starts tweeting, please bring back a woolly mammoth. And then at the end here, they're talking about bringing back a woolly mammoth in the video. They're actually going to try and do it. It's kind of, they're all in on it. It's a giant club and we're not in it, Anyway, sound on, you're hearing the first howl of a direwolf in over 10,000 years. Meet Romulus and Remus, the world's first de-extinct animals. So that's interesting. They've used the 2 people who founded Rome, Romulus and Remus? Let's look into this. Romulus and Remus. They were fed by wolves. You can see what's going on here. In Roman mythology, Romulus and Remus are twin brothers whose story tells of the event that led to the founding of the city of Rome and the Roman kingdom by Romulus, following his fratricide of Remus. So the image of a she-wolf suckling the twins in their infancy has been a symbol of the city of Rome and ancient Romans since at least the 3rd century BC. Although the tale takes place before the founding of Rome around 750 BC. The earliest known written accounts of the myth is from the late 3rd century BC. Possible historical basis for the story and interpretations of its vocal variants are subjects of ongoing debate. So this is why they called it Romulus and Remus. Okay. But I think they believed that Romulus and Remus was descended from the god Mars, the god of war. And so, yeah, this is insane. And obviously, I believe America is a new Roman creation of a sort. It's like a Roman revival is my working theory. And I'm pretty sure everyone admits that. I think, even Elon Musk has mentioned that America is Rome revived. It's kind of, they're telling you on a daily basis what's going on here, And they've decided to call it Romulus and Remus, the Rome resurrected, right, guys? Am I right? The symbolism's right there. Oh, we've managed to resurrect Rome. It's back from extinction. It's back after its destruction in the first millennia. After that tribulation event where the rock came and smashed the feet of the statue. Well, it's resurrected. We're back, guys. Rome is back. Romulus and Remus are on. We've done it. It's all there, symbolically. Scientists involved said they were able to assemble 2 high-quality Anocian-Dirus genomes, or complete sets of genetic information, which they compared to genomes of living canines such as wolves, jackals, and foxes. This allowed them to identify the genetic variants for traits specific to dire wolves, such as a white coat, longer, thick fur, slightly wider heads, and a stronger jaw. Colossal Biosciences said. Colossal as well, another reference to giants. I thought that was quite interesting. The information from a genetic analysis was then used to alter grey wolves, taking 20 edits in 14 genes before cloning the most promising cell lines and transferring them into donor eggs. Healthy embryos were then transferred into surrogates, large mixed breed domestic dogs, and 2 male direwolf pups were born on October the 1st, 2024, while a female pup was born on January the 30th, 2025. The company said. So now they're going to be breeding them as well, and we're going to have dire wolves out put out into the wild, messing up the ecosystem as far as we already have whatever balance we have currently, which is probably a mess anyway. No, that these things are going to make it worse. The 3 wolves are now living on a 2,000-acre site in an undisclosed location, enclosed by 3-meter-tall zoo-grade fencing, where they are monitored by security personnel, drones, and live camera feeds. All right, so these things dangerous then? Is that what they're trying to say? It's kind of like the Jurassic Park. It's like, guys, we've recreated velociraptors again, and we're going to try and keep them tightly controlled and within this extremely high security compound because they're extremely dangerous and could wipe us all out. It's kind of, maybe giant wolves weren't the best thing to create. Last I checked, human beings are pretty soft and meaty, and I'm pretty sure wolves are carnivores. And yeah, it's kind of, why do we do these things? Oh, why are we this stupid? I don't understand. This particular has been working on resurrecting the mammoth, the dodo, and Tasmanian tiger. The massive milestones in this first of many coming examples demonstrating that our end-to-end de-extinction technology stack works. So yeah, we're going to start bringing creatures back from extinction. And even if it is to do this playing around with animals for now, even just the language in general is quite funny, because we know they want to find a way to bring back the Nephilim, which, by the way, were pretty much made extinct, especially the OG ones, the big ones, you know. And maybe we're just right around the corner from bringing the giants back as well while we're at it. This is pretty trippy stuff, and again, it's dumb. It's really dumb. Like, if this is true, and they're not just talking out their ass, this is going to be the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What the hell are they doing? They have not thought 2 seconds about the consequences of their actions, have they? And it's like, is this just what godless people are? What they do? Like, they just have no conscience. We'll call it the Holy Spirit. They have no means to consider the future implications of their actions, or they have no morality to understand that it matters what they do, or that there even is a right or wrong way to interpret the consequences of their actions in some way. They have no framework. So they go ahead just creating monsters, resurrecting animals that will kill us, you know, producing an unknown god from the unfathomable depths of the ether that will utterly dominate and control us, just to see what happens. It's kind of like, this seems pretty cool. Let's give it a go. It's like as far as, or as deep as their thoughts seem to go in this situation. So I feel like there's got to be like a spiritual element behind all of this that's just influencing people to remain idiots. It's like the dumber we have them while they think they're really smart. It's like they're really smart in terms of like numbers, really good at numbers. You know, they're really good at like the mathing of things and like the minutiae details and the remembering of things, but they have zero common sense. This is a common problem with the highly educated, I find. Like, they're really smart in terms of book smart, and like they can surpass you in terms of skill on certain things and subjects, but they haven't got a clue how to actually navigate life effectively. They just don't have that ability. I've seen it. I had a friend who went to Oxford who was surrounded by those type of people, and I met a few of them, and it's kind of they've got no common sense. Like, they have zero ability to navigate the reality of the situation. No social awareness whatsoever. Really, really common. So I'm not surprised this type of idiocy is at play, but it's really common. It's getting worse, because I know in terms of genetic engineering stuff, I'm going to have a quick look now. I'm getting curious, but I know this is not the only thing they've been doing lately. We have the CRISPR technology, don't we? Which is basically gene editing humans to create designer babies. I mean, that alone is pretty messed up, What's this? The gene editing tool changing the world 2025 update. The modification of the human genome, which brings promising use of the CRISPR to cure diseases. Since 2012, a lot has happened. The drug candidates have progressed so far and even reached approval. So while scientists keep venturing into tweaking our DNA, it is worth taking the time to fully understand what CRISPR is and what the actual benefits and possibilities are. What's next for CRISPR? I just want to go straight to the bottom of this. I'm not interested in seeing what they have been doing. They're developing CRISPR-based therapy and advancing candidates through the clinic. They've demonstrated that CRISPR can be safely and effectively used as a treatment. It will definitely take some time and additional approvals to prove for good the broader safety of the technology. So basically, gene editing people now. Originally, it's from birth. Like, you can only change somebody's genes before they enter the world, basically. So you can make somebody immune to certain diseases or cancers or like sickle cell or something like that. Or even me, I have hemochromatosis, so they could deactivate that gene or remove that gene before the child's born, and they would never have it as an adult. They would never grow up with it anymore. If you were predispositioned through hereditary means, let's say. So it's like your family has this problem of always developing breast cancer or something like that. Well, we can deactivate the gene that will trigger that. It's kind of like they can do it before they're born. It's like an option. Do you want your baby to be cancer-proof? Do you want them to be? Do you want to give them blue eyes while I'm at it? It's that type of thing. Designer baby stuff. I think they're really working on and probably very close to editing humans in real time. So me, who's fully grown up, being able to go to one of these places and have my genes edited, so I no longer have a condition. Let's say. Do you understand? Now, it sounds great, doesn't it? This actually sounds wonderful. Saving millions of lives, changing lives for the better. But we don't know or understand the long-term implications and consequences of doing such a thing, spiritually speaking and physically speaking. Because the problem is these people don't believe there even is a spiritual realm. And if they do believe there's one, they don't fully understand the interconnectedness of such a realm to the physical world and what it means to have edited your DNA. Because we are fearfully and wonderfully made by God himself before we come into this world. He knows every hair on our head. He knows everything about us inside and out. And it's kind of like we've decided to take control and recreate his creation in our image, as we see fit, as though we know better than God himself. And I get it. From an atheistic, secular perspective, I sound like an absolute backwards, crazy weirdo who's just hindering mankind's progression. What, do you want kids to die? It's like, oh, yeah, they'll strawman me like that in some way, but it's kind of, no, I don't want children to die. No, I don't want suffering in the world. No, I would love it if everybody was just perfectly healthy and lived forever. Yeah, wouldn't that be wonderful? It's kind of, no. We're not supposed to live forever here as it stands in this corrupt, fallen world, because then we'll just be corrupt forever. We need to be made anew in order to enter the kingdom and to enter the new heaven and earth. We need to be born again, and to be born again truly and resurrected in your perfected bodies, as it back to Adam, you have to die. If we're going towards this world where immortality is the key, this is the singularity that really these people are working towards. They're working towards immortality. But Kurzweil is the one who was always going on about this, the reaching the singularity. He's pushing to reach it in his lifetime. He's throwing all of his money into mastering this technology of merging man with machine, making machine capable of housing a human consciousness so he can upload his consciousness into an immortal body that will never perish and never die, and he can live forever, And that's the dream, isn't it, of being able to live forever. But the trap is, no, you're not supposed to live forever here in this fallen state, in this corrupted state. You're supposed to die so God can make you whole into the new heaven and earth at the end of it. That's the plan. That's the goal. That's the promise. But because we live in a world where this kind of religion has been removed, and by that I mean a relationship with Jesus Christ, with God himself, and that's been seen as just something stupid and silly and backwards and naive and just something to make people feel better about death, and it's kind of because everyone's under the evolutionary delusion, the lie of infinite vast universes, advanced civilizations, space travel, man-controlled evolutionary processes of immortality is kind of fully biting that apple and rolling with the false promise, that we'll be as gods. It's kind of they can't see through their own lights, the blinders that have been put on them. They probably genuinely think they're doing what's best for humanity. This is how they get you, and they certainly have a way of selling it to us as though this is good. It's going to be very difficult. I mean, if you think about the moral implications from a Christian standpoint here, it's going to be very difficult for any of us as a Christian if one of our children gets diagnosed with a terminal genetic condition that's going to make them suffer until they're dead. How difficult is it going to be for us to remember that God has a plan, and that if we do anything that could alter the creation that God had and that could lead towards immortality for that individual, we could be robbing them of eternal salvation? It's kind of like the ethical issues from our standpoint on this are unprecedented. It's terrifying. Are we going to be able to, in that moment, though, say no when we see our own children suffering? These are real moral, ethical implications that we may have to consider and think about as a real possibility in the future that we might be confronted with. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but likely in our lifetimes. If not us, our children may have to deal with these type of issues and consequences and questions. It's kind of, are we going to be able to stay strong in our faith and deny such a treatment when it comes to our own loved ones and being put in such a position, or even ourselves, if we've been promised that we can cure you of that incurable disease that you've been diagnosed with, that can only give you 5 years left to live. We can give you 50 more years, and in 50 years' time, we can extend it indefinitely, no doubt. By that point, the technology would have come so far. Are you going to be able to resist? Are you going to be able to say, no, I want to die? Like, you think about it, these are questions you're going to have to sincerely ask yourself. These are serious faith-contending questions here at the end of the day. And I can see this as a huge way to make many forsake their faith and move on and lose it, fall away. I can see this as a big one, simply because of, like I said, these moral quandaries that people are going to be presented with. It's scary, And Holistic Case says the majority of diseases are metabolic, not genetic. Cancer is not genetics. No, I know. I'm being broad here with what I'm saying is they'll have the technology through gene editing to turn you into a superhuman who could be immortal more than anything, who's immune to sickness and illness in whatever form. That's kind of what the promise is. And this could be considered something akin to a Mark of the Beast or a rerun of the Mark of the Beast. Where everyone knows where I stand on that type of stuff. But it's kind of, I can see them doing it again, but better in this time round in this season. If they've already tried it in the past, and this could be like the modern 2.0 version of such a concept of forsaking God for your own safety and security, sacrificing your faith for immortality. That seems to be what the new moral quandary is going to be. You know, the new issue the faithful are going to have to contend with, and it's scary stuff. Like, I'm not. Look, I get it, guys. This is terrifying. Like, this is not good fun to talk about when you really get down to it. But we're at the threshold here. We have crossed a boundary that probably shouldn't have been crossed. Mankind is already doing these things and has been doing them for a while. There are more and more people lining up and signing up to get the upgrade and get change. And it's kind of, as we've seen, these things tend to get exponential. They don't slow down. They speed up and get bigger faster. So we've always felt like during the golden age of movies, you know, from like the 70s to like the noughties, all those films we had before everything suddenly felt like it was just a rehash of the old films and everything. We feel like we've been perpetually stuck in 2012 for God knows how many years, you know. But back in the day, it's kind of all these type of things I'm talking about just seem like something you see in the movies, far off in the future. We're in it now. This is it now. This is actually just down the road. This is what you're dealing with now. This is not far in the future anymore. But I feel like many people are still locked into the idea that these are all future issues we're going to have to contend with. This is not something we're going to have to deal with now or soon. And I don't know. I feel like this is on us now. In many ways, this is really on us now. Anyway, there you go. There's my diatribe. There's my conversation. There's a few things I wanted to bring to you guys in this little presentation, you know, a bit of a live Q&A. So I'm going to do the question side of this live. And I'm going to open up to you guys. What do you guys have to say about this? Do you guys have any questions or any points you want to make? Have you found anything else yourself recently that has absolutely shaken you to the core, learning about what they're currently doing with emerging technologies? Let me know in the chat, and I'll get back to you and I'll answer some of those questions. In the meantime, I'm going to take another quick break. I'm going to play another song for you guys by Judah, just because it's quick and easy, and I've got them right here already lined up. And this time I'm going to play, I'm going to play the same song, but the reggae version instead, just because I think it's got a funky jam.
I heard the shout. 40 lashes minus one. How my suffering as with the sun so drips on out my blood. 40 swore to an oath until his death come by the hands of men. We shall stop. The Lord of Heaven's army shall protect me. God, my scars are ready to bear. Privileged to trust you, I'll worship instead. Go in anguish, my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to hold. Tread the broad path the flesh declines, guided by the renewal of mind. Something's brewing in the unseen sky. Rulers of this realm forfeit at the mention of the true Christ. Bound are my wrists behind bars to chains for you. Temptation's play its hand, but I cannot renounce what's true. As the earth shifts and the cracks expand, that we were already free. Better by Euroglide to get across the sea. Set sail to the land of calamity. So be it. Count my prosperity. Share with the sun. Got my scars already to bear. Privilege to trust you. I'll worship instead. Though in anguish my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to pray. Thank you, got my scars already to bear. Privilege to trust you. I'll worship instead. Though in anguish my pleas are that I can, under all these stones, still combine my hands to pray. Thank you,
And I'm back. How are we all doing, guys? Quick drink of water, catching up with the chat there, watching you all talk. And I thought it was funny there. It was Angela Gardner said, seriously, how can humanity continue if tech takes over completely? So I believe we are at the end, at the least close to. The little season is here. And, you know, I'm no stranger to talking about that topic, the little season. And I was thinking about it then, and to think about the Gog-Magog war, gathering an army surrounding the camp of saints, and then fire rains down from heaven to destroy the army. Okay. And I was just thinking, like, is that what it would take to destroy a robot army? Extreme, fervent, metal-melting heat of unprecedented proportions. And it's kind of, it seems like overkill if it was just humans, you know, that were all just charging up with their weapons and whatever it is. To have such an extreme flamethrower type event going on, you know, fire from heaven to destroy the armies. I mean, it just seems extreme, doesn't it? And just the idea that I was just thinking off the top of my head, perhaps it would make sense that if we had all pretty much just been wiped out by this point, all of humanity is dead due to the AI robotic takeover. You know, there's no robot, and all we have left are the billions of spirits, demonic spirits that have inhabited these vessels, these robotic vessels, and they're just storming straight to the camp. You know, extreme heat coming down and just obliterating all these hard bodies, shall we say, of metal and steel, just melting them together into a puddle. Probably would. There could be it could be I don't know, just an idea. Just an idea. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't got a clue. I was just thinking that I had a thought Just had a thought, or a mega EMP, as Angela's saying there. That would do it, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Just like a Carrington event. Like we had the Carrington event in like the 1800s, and because there wasn't much technology then, according to the narrative, the phone lines kind of blew up, but that was it. But if it happened again today, such an electromagnetic storm of unprecedented proportions that literally makes its way all the way down to the equator, as they say, it basically it covered the whole Earth, this magnetic storm that would wipe out all of our technologies instantly. It would just be utter blackout, and it would take months, maybe years to get the grid back online again and things working and to repair every single broken, blown fuse and wire and everything like this everywhere, Get the generators, get the power plants. The power plants would melt down. Everything would just be horrible. It'd be a mess, Could you imagine that fire from heaven could be that? A mass Carrington-style event again that melts everything because of the heat and the flames and explosions and all sorts of things. And it's kind of, who knows? I don't know. Terrifying to think about. You think about when you actually start thinking about the type of destruction we're talking about there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking, is the army going to be solely made up of these vessels that they're making now, mass producing them, in factories to possibly outnumber humanity itself in the end, especially if the system becomes autonomous, then it'll just endlessly produce its own vessels over and over and over and over and over and over and over again indefinitely through production lines, and it could that's how you perhaps could make an army the number of the sands of the sea. It's possible, I just trying to riffing off the top of my head here, but it could be just absolute nonsense, whatever I'm saying. But I'm just thinking out loud, and I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Just throw at me what you've got. We've got Rev in the chat. Good to see you. It's like Connor's just joined us. We've got Pearl, Coriander. Time is literally speeding up, says Coriander. Yep, it is. It does feel like time is just flying. It felt like my first son was a baby in my arms yesterday, and now he's kicking me in the crotch and climbing on my back with his elbows and laughing about it. It's kind of, they grow up fast, don't they? Yeah, we've got Connor in the house. We've got Wendy here as well. Good to see you, Wendy. The creatures that are contained. That's right, Busybird. I agree, yeah. I think there is a Nephilim, physical hybrid Nephilim horde already on Earth in these underground bases, I believe, personally. And me and Connor talked about this, actually. Underground creatures, monsters that are living literally underground on Earth already. I think they're already laying in waiting. I think they'll be a part of the army. I think there's going to be a true anti-human, anti-god army on Earth during this time. It's going to be on a scale that's unprecedented. And yeah, I think there's going to be a non-human element to all of it, and probably a robotic element to it as well. It's going to be everything all at once. It's going to just be ridiculous. It's going to be, like I said, it's kind of, I'm kind of glad or hoping we're not going to be around to witness it, to be honest. Tech being put in pharmakia could make them a part of the army, Paul, says Angela. I think I know what you're referring to there, the thing that I'm not allowed to talk about. But yeah, I think something's gone on with that too, which we have not yet fully seen the consequences of. That's true. Yeah. Paul riffing? No way, says Misha. Yeah, stop. You guys know me. I think that's what you're here for. I assume that's what you're here to hear me just ramble on. I don't have enough time in the day to eat 3 meals. Well, find the time. Well, you don't actually need 3 meals a day. 1 would suffice, to be honest. Realistically, 2 at a push, They try and keep them close together, the meals, and have a large window where you're not eating. That's always best as well. Who knows what they're hiding in the underground bases, says Pearl. She agrees, yeah. Jesus is going to be coming in hot. He seems that way. Yeah, fire. 3 meals seems absurd now, doesn't it? Yeah. The solution has a clause stating copyrights to those that were transitioned. I don't know what you're saying there, Alison. I missed that. Oh god, taxes, Wendy. I know. Tell me about it. I'm going to do my tax return as well. Well, I say that my accountant, my wife, has to do it all. That's her role. She deals with that side of things, so I can just do this, whatever I'm doing here right now. But yeah, taxes and money, robbing bastards. I'm going to say it right now. The HMRC robbing bastards. The amount of money they take off us is it's just. You get mad about AI and robots and all this type of stuff, and nothing gets me more angry than the tax man. honestly, it's that time of year, and yeah, they are rinsing us dry. Orcs rising from the forge, robots, mindless automatons, slave army. Yep, checks out, says Dr. Humanio. Yeah, it's like every other movie that's ever been out, every game we've ever played, the predictive programming is hard on all of this. It's going to be V-Day. It's going to be Emergence Day. It's going to be Gears of War style, the locusts bursting out of the underground pits and taking back what's rightfully theirs on the surface, getting rid of the surface dwellers. It's going to be that. Yeah, some crazy things are going to go down. Our tax is higher in the UK. You're damn right. Our tax is higher in the UK. Go and have a look. Go and have a look. We're one of the most, if not the most, taxed country in the world. Yeah, it's bad. I owe $3,800 in taxes this year. It's ridiculous, says D-Rust. Is that dollars? Because if it's in dollars, that's not much in pounds. And I can tell you right now, I owe more. I owe more. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. And it's not necessarily like I've earned more than you. Probably not. It's that we just get taxed more. Like more. It's stupid how much they tax us here. And then after we've been taxed, there's the tax on everything else I have to buy as well on top of that. Non-stop taxes, honestly. You think that's the Lord of the Rings? Yeah, well, yeah, it's going to be similar. The Lord of the Rings story is... I have to rewatch Lord of the Rings. I think Tolkien had a lot of it hidden there about the season we're in and what the past was perhaps about in allegory, more so than I realised. I think Joe was talking about going back and doing a series on the Lord of the Rings, on Sauron as well, and the war between the elves and loads of things, and the separation of the humans and the elves, and it's kind of, I think there's a lot there, parallels to like saints receding and all this type of stuff, and I'm gonna have to rewatch it, and I'm gonna have to do something with that, certainly. I don't think I'll watch the 13-hour extended edition though. Maybe just the standard 10-hour edition, Keep it light, keep it easy. 24-hour prayer candles keep going, burning 6 hours now. So it is said. Haven't tried it myself. Okay. If we come together, they'll Waco us. They'll do something to us, yeah. Would you ever move to the US? I would move to the US if it was an option, if it was a feasible option. We've been looking. My wife is now a visa expert and knows everything about all the different visas necessary to live and work in the US. And there's a few avenues we could go down, routes we could go through. The problem is the majority of them require a full vaccination sheet. And I don't have that. I'm not willing to go and get it just for that sake, So it's that type of thing. Everyone's saying that they're paying for taxes is making me sad. We owe way more, says Keely. Absolutely. I know. They have no idea. Even your fuel over there for your vehicles is so cheap. we were gobsmacked at the price we paid to fill up a full tank on an SUV. It was nothing. It was pennies to us in England. Like it was like, I felt like a rich king living in your country with the wages. Like, but in England, I'm like a working class schmuck. Yeah, you guys in America really don't appreciate how low your gas prices are. You have no idea. Paul, your take on shapeshifter caught on TV, etc. Which one, Andrew? Do you have a specific example that you want me to look into? What area in the US do you like, Paul? I don't know. I haven't explored enough of it to know. I've been to Florida. Too hot. I don't like the heat. Too sticky. Disgusting. My wife likes Virginia. She worked there for a short while. Splash Mountain, I think it was called. Is that what it was called? Keely, let me know. What was the water park you worked in for a brief stint? But yeah, in Virginia, I hear good things about Virginia because of that. But I don't really know. I need to explore the place a bit more. I'm going to probably do more regular trips back and forth to America maybe in the future when I can afford it. It's not cheap to fly to America, and I've got 2 children. It's a long flight, all that type of thing. So maybe in the future, I'll explore the land a bit more, and maybe, who knows, maybe one day we'll manage to make the trip and move there permanently. But I think is Trump offering like a gold card where you can literally pay like, it's like $1 million just to move there, just to be a citizen instantly, like instant citizenship or something. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford that. Probably never, but who knows? But a man can dream, right? That's the point of a dream, isn't it? It's supposed to be something ridiculous. Everyone else having apocalyptic dreams pretty much every night, says the chosen one. Well, not every night, but just ask my wife. Like, my dreams are every single night I dream. And when I try and explain what happened to my wife, she's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you dreaming about these things? My dreams are wild and always involve a fight or a struggle or a battle in the midst of some kind of worldwide drama of sorts. But I can never remember many of them fully, but I do remember how beautiful and vivid they are. But myself lately haven't been apocalyptic per se for myself personally. Anyone else had any apocalyptic dreams? Let me know. I've been going for an hour and a half. I might go for about 10 minutes more roughly. So yeah, get them in now, guys. Sleestack's Reptiles Underground. I was really little, but Land of the Lost. Maybe, Paul, you were right. My older brother watched it. Seems like the Horde and the Nephilim are the same thing. Oh, yeah, definitely. Come to California. Nobody will notice or care. Oh, they will. The government always cares. I'm new to this dreams from God thing, so I'm just floored about it. He's so good. I must have missed something there. But yeah, I think a lot of people have been having crazy dreams lately, but which is not unprecedented because we're living in crazy times and your mind needs to process the reality around you at nighttime, and dreams are a perfect way of doing that. I think God does send you comforting messages and resolutions and teachings and messages through dreams, definitely. Do something, the government will invoke the War Measures Act on your families. Canada showed you fact. Okay. No state tax in Texas if you move. Oh, nice. Yeah, where's the lowest taxes in America? I feel like that's where I want to move to. Paul, random question. What's up with demons and the blue skin motif? I noticed a lot of demons I've seen depicted always have blue skin. I think that's primarily inspired by the Hindu pantheon of many gods and avatars. In fact, Vitaly made a great video about this. I'll reference you to a prior expert on this. Let me just quickly find the video so I can share it with you all. But I remember watching this a while ago, and he gave a fantastic presentation on blue-skinned entities all throughout the Earth. Alpha Talks. Yeah, his channel's called Alpha Talks. It's called Vitali. Great friend, regular on the channel. We've talked many times about many things. All things demons, all things parasites, all things Millennial Kingdom. We go back and forth on a lot of topics. But he made one about blue-skinned gods. And I'm going to get the video up for you in 1 second. Just give me a second. He's made a lot of videos, so I'm going to go back and find it. But I highly recommend checking out his channel, so I'll share it on the screen for you guys now. So here's his channel, Alpha Talks. I've scrolled down. He made it a year ago, but you see this one here. It's called The Blue Gods, and I'll just click the video and pause it. But yeah, as you can see, he goes through and explains a lot about these blue god representations all throughout history in different cultures and different representations, and how they got these features and where they come from and what they usually represent and what the behaviors are. We have in Egypt as well. Yeah, so go watch his video if you haven't already. We've got it in Japan here with the Oni demons. Yeah, you got Quetzalcoatl, the bird gods of Meso and Aztec America. You've got the Rakshasa demons of India, often represented in blue. I think it's just Nephilim features primarily. It's just one iteration of the Nephilim, developed through serpentine fathers, serpentine traits, I think. And I think snakes come in many colors, and I think that's why some of them may have had blue skin as well. But also many representations of the gods themselves, the angels who mated with human women, may have had blue skin in some of their own incarnations and iterations. So, you know, yeah, again, here's a DMT encounter exactly with the blue skin. So go watch his video, and he probably will be able to give you a 10-minute presentation on the situation. So there you go. There's my answer to that quickly. A quick recommendation. Coming back here, what else have we got? Dr. Hugh Manuel, I feel the Little Season and Nephilim connections need a refocusing for the community. Can you post a notification on your channel so we can submit clips or timestamps? What do you mean? What clips? What clips do you want? What do you want me to post exactly on the channel? Let me know. I had been searching for my father my whole life, but the dream didn't at all seem like that was the meaning. The person who interpreted the dream knew nothing about me. Pretty crazy. Also, Jai's talking about his dreams with somebody that I just kind of popped into the conversation. Pearl's talking about her dream, I think. Isn't Zeus blue, says Joyful One? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe, perhaps, who knows? Maybe the gods were blue-skinned, but their offspring were more of a bluey, sickly, white-skinned thing because they mixed with the daughters of Cain, who I think had porcelain white skin due to the mark of Cain, like chalky white, from my research has shown me. Who knows? Fair translucent skin, seeing veins causing blue color. Yeah, I think does blood turn red when it oxidizes? So only when it's cut out of you do you see it as red once it's exposed to air. But is it actually blue or something? I've heard something like that before. I don't know if there's any validity to that whatsoever. Probably not. Oh, in some cases does it happen? I'm not sure. No, the Nephilim were the Titans, says Revered Wolf. Revered Wolf, the Nephilim were far more than simply just the Titans of Greek mythology. They were far more than that, spreading over every single culture in unprecedented numbers, in many different stylized forms. And read my book. So I'm going to say, I explain it all there. Watch my series. You have a lot to learn if you think the Nephilim were simply just the Titans. No. There were giants after that, but the originals were the Titans. They were well, you can call them whatever you want. You're just using the Greek terminology there for the Titanochemy story and the War of the Titans. No, they go by many names over many cultures, and they spread across all over the earth in many different stylized forms. That's the case, with many different stories as well. was eating their no Greeks wrote about them later. No, but I'm saying the word Titans comes from the Greek story. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I know. Every culture's talked about them in some respects. Like, absolutely. You wouldn't know my location, so it might not make sense, but I had a dream where I was walking to the store and saw someone parked in their car with about 6 to 8 baby legs on their lap. The person that's disturbing, Chosen One. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Just a pinned post or something for viewers. Helping a best of Yukon core points clip show. Not essential, just a proposal. Again, let everyone else do the work for me and clip all my work and put it all together. If people want to start clipping my videos and making shorts about things I say, go ahead and do it. People do it anyway, and not always in my favor sometimes. God, they always get the most unflattering positions that I find myself in sometimes and use those ones. But go ahead. I'll do what I can. Maybe I'll make a post or a pin. Maybe you can say it in the group, and then I will pin your post or something like that. I don't know if we can sort that out, but yeah. Chiro sounds. I got your Nephilim book the other day. I'm loving it. Thank you. That's great. On that news, actually, I bulk ordered another 7 hardcovers and I think 6 paperbacks of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns, and they are arriving Friday. I've finally been given confirmation that they're already dispatched and out and arriving on my doorstep on Friday. One person has already pre-ordered their copy and paid, and that's ready to go as soon as they turn up. But if anyone else wants a signed copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns, then email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and we can get that arranged for you, and you can get one of your copies from this batch arriving on Friday. They tend to sell out pretty quick, so first come first serve is the rule I do. I've had it where people have said, oh yeah, I'm going to buy it, and it's kind of, they haven't paid me for like 2 days and someone else is offering then and there. That's where it goes to. That's how it works, okay? I'm not holding books for people or anything like that, because it's just, I get too many emails. It's too fast. And I only have so much money to bulk order so many at once, so I can't keep doing it. So that's how it's going to be, guys. But if you do want to get a copy, email me at understandingconspiracy@gmail.com and I can get that sorted for you anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. Or I can just get on with my own channel and stop being an opinion comment. It says Dr. Human. Yeah, what did happen with that? I thought you were supposed to start your channel like 6 months ago. Talking a big game. No, seriously, get it started already. What are you doing? I know you're going to be a massive thorn in our sides, constantly contrarian to everything we say all the time. I can already see it, but do it anyway, whatever. Get in on the conversation. Mad one that years later I seen a film where the alien ship jumps like a frog on the sea. And that was just the thing from the dream or something from the news in the dream. A lot of dream talk for you guys tonight. Everyone's having dreams. Arteries carry oxygenated red blood away from the heart, says Alison. So there is something about the blue blood thing. Blood with waste is bluer, greener. Veins return to heart, lungs to get oxygen. Interesting, Alison. All right. I always see the blue veins and the red veins on the body maps. I'm showing my son the anatomy and seeing it all, and I didn't know that. Well, I think now you've said it, I'm getting like nostalgic flashbacks to like high school biology. So maybe I did know that, but I certainly forgot. What else is going on? I feel foolish for not discovering the little season info sooner, but maybe everyone feels the same. Well, don't feel foolish about it. It's just not on your radar until it's on your radar, is it? Because everyone's saying one thing and it's easy to just go with the status quo in such matters. But we in this community have decided to carve our own path and say, no, we're going to just do our own research and be sure of every possibility, whether you like it or not. That's establishment authority doesn't like when people do stuff like that. It took me a couple of years to even understand what the heck LS was. Finally gave up trying and prayed about it, says Don. And then you came back not long after. It happens. Everyone in their own time is what I say. No pressure. It's basically a motorcycle, but instead of wheels, it's got 4 robotic legs, says the Chosen One. Did you guys see that motorcycle company Kawasaki built. It's basically a robot horse built for humanoid robots to ride on, pretty much. I did see something like that. Yeah, actually, in my research, I did see that. I'm gonna have to show you. This. It looks clunky as hell and weird. I don't like it. I don't like it. Something about it is really creepy. And you're gonna have to see this. Here it is. This thing, right? It's so weird. It is so strange. I can't. It's like a motorbike with legs. Okay. I won't call it a robot horse necessarily, but it is literally a motorbike with legs, powered by hydrogen, and it's like leaping and doing all sorts of things. And I don't know what it's actually capable of realistically, though. I don't know. But just looking at it, I don't know. There's something about it that just makes me feel weird, like really weird. It looks like, see, they haven't used horse legs. This is why it's weird, okay? They haven't used like a horse's body shape. They haven't inverted the back legs, okay? It looks like a man on all fours and somebody's just riding his back. You know what I mean? Like the back legs are just knees. That's just a human leg. You know what I mean? This is just a human body, basically, on all fours. And it's just something about, I don't know. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm saying here? It looks like a man is straddling another man. This is what it looks like. Just riding around on the back of another man. Or a giant man of some kind. It doesn't look like a creature. They haven't made it look like animalistic. They've made it look human, which is where the oddness comes from it for me. It's like, it's uncanny. I get a very uncanny feeling. If it looked like this, then it wouldn't be so creepy. Even this wouldn't have looked so strange. You know what I mean? Like, because it's got the legs kind of like more like a horse, more like an animal. But they didn't. They made it look like some dude on all fours letting some other dude just ride him around while he leaps over cabins and stuff. But like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that. It's odd. It's very odd. On a steel horse I ride. There is something about a new channel called Nephilim Death Squad I cannot abide. That's not a new channel, KK Westbury, and yeah, they're definitely an acquired taste, that's for sure. They make no secret of that, though. The Boston Dynamics videos are mostly BS, in my opinion. They look fake AF. They do look really fake, don't they? I agree. They look, well, with AI being what it is, they could easily fake that kind of stuff now as well. Keep the shareholders happy. Just show them an AI video. Creates horses perfectly suited for the purpose. Deceived man. Crappy mechanized copy. Gross. Yeah, that's right. That robot unicorn though. Yeah. I should have known they would release that after seeing Venom ride a Venom horse in the trailer for the newest Venom movie. How many Venoms do you want to add into that sentence? But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they've timed it all. It's all timed. It's all orchestrated for soft disclosure, isn't it? I know. We're in Revelation 20. $20 super chat. Thank you. One more thing before you go. Thanks for that. Do you have one more thing you want to say before you go? Mechanical horses sounds pretty much like Revelation stuff. Yeah, it does. Like I said, it doesn't look like a horse though. It looks like a dude on all fours. I'm not gonna lie. Let me just quickly go back to the webcam. You have another look at that creepy thing. Without seeing video, I'm skeptical, says Nick Matthews. Yeah, I know. Like they were on stage with it and stuff, kind of sat on it, but I don't think it moved. And there is a video out there of it doing stuff, but I'm not convinced it's real. I think there's a level of trickery and fakery about advancement going on here as well, perhaps, or they're trying to create the illusion that there's a falling behind, or maybe it genuinely can do the things it's showing us. I couldn't say to myself. I'm not there. I don't know. First YouTube I've ever subscribed to, says Laurie. Hello everyone. Oh, thanks for subscribing to this channel. I appreciate it. If I'm your first, welcome to YouTube. Honestly, you're in for a wild ride. Oh, do I envy you? First time, Do you think the fallen angels are here now? I think some of the Watchers who rebelled against God initially are still around on Earth, albeit probably being a bit more careful about what they choose to do after watching the punishment for the Watchers and mated with the humans, that's for sure. I think the rebellion never ended. I think the war in heaven is still continuing until the final new heaven and earth is complete. I think the enemies of God are in both heaven and earth, and I think there are wickedness in high places working against us every single day of our lives, and we're called to put on the full armor of God to be protected for that reason. Absolutely. So yeah, I think some are still around. Definitely. I think some are bound in chains. That's true. I think a lot of them were released from the pit. Apollyon, at least, was released with his horde for the Tribulation Armageddon event. But at the same time, I think some of them weren't. I think some of them were never locked up to begin with, and they never left, But I think a lot of them receded and bided their time and have waited. And if this is the season, then now's their time to come out and do what they need to do, or what they wanted to do pre-flood. Now they can do post-millennium. Do you know what I mean? I think that's probably what we're living through right now. That's the situation we find ourselves in. They're trying to sell us the idea of AI being more advanced than any of it actually is, says Pepe. Something like that. There's some kind of con going on, that's for sure. My chat froze. Radio Free Buffalo. Okay. You got a sort of free shouts out there. I don't think these robots can do half the things they claim, says Pepe. Maybe not. Maybe not. No, I think AI can, though. AI certainly can. But the robotic element, it still seems clunky. I think the machine learning tools they're using, like Isaac Sim, is going to be a game changer, though. I think we're going to start seeing robots being capable of doing a lot more because of that. I can see that being the case. But in the meantime, they're trying to give the illusion it already can do what it's about to start learning to do. But I think it's all about showing the enemies of the countries making them, look how far ahead we are. It's like a robot dick measuring competition. Trying to psych each other out of like where we actually are on it. It's kind of like, yeah, we don't mess with those because our robots can do this, It's kind of, but I don't think we're actually quite fully there. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of that going on, trickery to fool every other nation's enemies. I kind of thought Apollyon was the one cast down with the key to let the beast out, and he was cast into the lake of fire already. Yeah, I think some have had their punishment, like for what they did for creating the Nephilim, and they're in the lake of fire. I think they've had the done. But at the same time, wandering stars are angels, which are planets, and they're still around, and they left their first estate, and they have a punishment waiting for them in the end. It talks about in the book of Enoch, but they're still here now. I think a lot of the angels who were in rebellion, who didn't mate with human women and suffered that particular punishment and were bound in chains underground, I think they're dealt with, but the ones that never mated with human women are still around and still in rebellion in their hearts against God and still cast out of heaven, if you get what I mean. So yeah, it's a bit of this, bit of that. There's a lot of angels involved. It was only 200 that came to Mount Hermon and mated with human women, but there's more than 200 angels, and a third of heaven was in rebellion, from what I gather. So yeah, a lot of angels are in rebellion against God and likely here messing with us. We're in the middle of a horrible war. Like, we don't even realize it. Robot dick measurer sounds like a dystopian job for humans. Can you imagine if that's what we're all delegated to? Yeah, they'll think, oh, if the humans are still good for anything, it's got to be this. I don't think Jesus is worried. Are you? I'm not worried. No fear with any of this stuff I'm saying, guys. It's just observational facts that this is what's happening in the world right now. Be prepared for whatever's coming. What are we supposed to do when the world surrounds the camp? Go to Paul's house. I haven't got that much room. This office is tiny. I know I give the illusion it's large, but it really isn't. Like, that's an arm's reach away, that wall. It is not very far behind. I'm down for that. Right, guys, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to call this a night now. I've been almost 2 hours. So yeah, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this change of direction. Like I said, I'm going to try and get this weekly show more on track with other topics, up-to-date topics about current events instead. And then my Truth or Therapy sessions is going to be Truth or Therapy sessions as well. We're going to get back on track with that too. And then in between, I'll be chucking out videos about anything I find that comes along my way that's interesting about whatever, and anything conspiracy related to. The more Nephilim Look Like Clowns is coming your way. Like I said, I'm working on the audiobook for volume 1. That should be released hopefully in the next couple of months. I am halfway through chapter 8, which is about the flood. It's a big one. But now I have all this audio of me speaking. I might make some videos out of the audio I've been recording as well. So I might chuck some of them out with visuals to back it up, make it a bit more interesting. But then, obviously, writing Volume 2, I am currently exploring all the cultures all over the earth that venerate their ancestor spirits, and I am finding some pretty creepy, horrible, wild stuff that I'd like to share with you guys. So there's going to be more Nephilim Look Like Clowns videos being added to my series, which has been put on hold for a year or two. So look forward to that as well, guys. Lots of work on the way. If you would like a copy of the Nephilim Look Like Clowns signed, like I said, send me an email, understandingconspiracy@gmail.com. Link is in the description of this video. Make sure to catch this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go and subscribe. Leave me a 5-star review and all of those. That really helps me when you do that. It definitely helps just get the thing elevated and out there in front of other people. It's an algorithm game. You know how it is. So go to podcast only if you guys haven't checked that out already, and you'll find everything I do there too. I have some visits coming up in the future. I'm going to be talking to David again, Nino, but this time I'm going to do the Nephilim Look Like Clowns presentation to him, which I've not done in a while. I have to dust off the old scripts that I used to know off by heart and do it again. So I'm going to bring the clowns to a big audience as well through him. So that's going to be fun. I'm talking to Dr. Longo as well, and he wants to talk about the clowns too, which is surprising. Old World Florida. And then I've got, I think I'm talking to Sam Tripoli next week about the little season as well. So there's lots coming your way, guys. Lots of fun, lots more content as always. Busy. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.